When you hear people talking about the best defensive prospects in this draft, you'll hear them mention names like Dallas Turner, Jared Verse, or maybe even Terrion Arnold, but I beg to differ. In my eyes, it's only a two-man race with none of the aforementioned names. And those players are the edge out of UCLA, Laiate Latu, and the defensive tackle out of Illinois, Jer'Zahn Newton. But today, we are only going to talk about one of those players. And that player is one of my favorites in this class and a guy who I hope falls to the Texans somehow, the unstoppable Jer'Zahn Johnny Newton. As always, let's start off with the positives. The first thing that pops off when watching Jer'Zahn play is his quick, explosive get-off, as he is constantly beating linemen off the snap. He combines that with his great power and leverage to have an upper hand in the trenches, which allows him to get great pushback on blockers to collapse the pocket. It isn't just with smaller linemen either. He has shown to be able to win against players much bigger than him as well. Actually, Jer'Zahn's great use of leverage really shines when facing bigger linemen. After all, you know the saying we've all heard hundreds of times in football, the lowest man always wins. And Jer'Zahn is a prime example of that. He also has very active and violent hands that allow him to fight through the hand fighting from linemen, and also doesn't stray away from contact as he will continue to fight through it. Jer'Zahn has also showcased to be very slippery when rushing. He can adjust absurdly quickly to different blocking angles and, at times, double teams. His absurd quickness and agility for his size make him a dual threat guy in both passing and running situations. And when he is one-on-one, he can disengage blockers while keeping his eyes on the ball. That brings me to what Jer'Zahn excels at as a defender, and that is, with him having such great vision of the backfield, even while fighting through blockers, he is able to greatly anticipate where the play is headed, which allows him to constantly wreck plays in the run game, behind the line of scrimmage, or for a short gain. Overall, he is very instinctive. Now, you might think due to him being undersized for his position, he must not be a good run defender, but you'd be mistaken. You see, despite being undersized, he is actually a great run defender. In fact, he is one of the best run defenders in this class, and he shows it in many different ways, with his ability to close gaps, get to the backfield, or even simply drawing another blocker, which opens up lanes for teammates to get the stop, which often gets overlooked. Now, as I stated earlier, Jer'Zahn is a dual threat defender. He is more than just a run stuffer. He is also an excellent pass rusher as well. One of the things Jer'Zahn excels at in this area is his bull rush, which he uses to disrupt the quarterback's timing or collapse the pocket. But he is capable of using more than just his power to win, as he showcases many different pass rushing moves, including an NFL level spin move and swim move. He also demonstrates the flexibility to play on the edge, showing that his skill set goes beyond just defensive interior duties. Lastly, Jer'Zahn has an insane motor and never quits on plays. You will see him running down running backs or receivers from halfway across the field, which is absolutely insane considering his position and size. I mean, he is always giving 100% effort on every play, it feels like. And also, it feels like he is part of every tackle pile on the field. And honestly, that's what really sticks out to me from him, and probably my favorite thing about his game. Now, there are some weaknesses or negatives about him as a prospect as well. The first one is what seems to be most people's issue with him, which is the fact that he is undersized for his position. Jer'Zahn measured in at the combine around 6'2" and 304 pounds, which ranks in the 17th percentile in height and 47th percentile in weight, which is a concern, but we've seen guys like Warren Sapp and Aaron Donald dominate at the next level. Heck, even Kalijah Kancey out of last year's draft is off to a great start, and much like them, he utilizes his smaller frame to his advantage, so I'm not too worried about that. Jer'Zahn also lacks the ideal arm length, so it could affect his ability to extend and control engagements at the next level. He has also shown to struggle against double teams at times and can often get taken out of plays entirely because of it. Jer'Zahn also surprisingly does worse when the play is designed to be run towards him, rather than when it's a stretch play or run to the opposite side of the line to him. A big reason for that is because he struggles at times to quickly diagnose runs when he is playside, which causes him to get neutralized. Jer'Zahn is also slower in pursuit when having to chase runners or the quarterback outside of the pocket. There has also been some reports recently saying that he isn't very coachable, but I don't know him personally, so I can't say for sure. I mean, just last season we were seeing reports saying CJ may not be coachable, and now we're seeing that those claims were just plain and simply false. So do what you will with that claim. Lastly, there is some concern with him having just recently had surgery on his foot, which is due to him having faced an injury around the midway point of last season. Specifically, it was a right foot Jones fracture, but that wasn't found out until after the season. And although it didn't cause him to miss any games, it is still something to be aware of. So overall, Jer'Zahn Newton in my eyes is one of the best defenders in this class, and I feel he is currently being overlooked by many people. And I'm kind of hoping somehow he ends up with the Texans. It's not too far-fetched either, with other people being high on people like Darius Robinson, Byron Murphy, or even Braden Fisk. With this likely being my last video before the draft, I did want to show y'all what my top 10 prospects are in this class. Mind you, I do not account for positional value, and who my quote-unquote guys are in this draft. Personally, my two guys in this class, I've been really high on them since last year, is Latte Latu out of UCLA, and obviously Jer'Zahn Newton out of Illinois. Just as a reference, since I have started looking into prospects further, my guys back in 2022 were Sauce Gardner, Kyle Hamilton, and Chris Olave. Then last year, my guys were Bryce Young, Jordan Addison, and my Cougs' very own, Tank Dell. And so far, most of them have turned out pretty well. But I do know my guys aren't exactly hidden gems. After all, they do tend to be day 1 or day 2 picks. But still, they're my guys nonetheless. But if you did enjoy this video, be sure to leave a like and subscribe for more. If you want to hear my thoughts on other prospects, then be sure to check out my channel to see my other videos as well. But how do you feel about Jer'Zahn? Do you think he is currently being overlooked? Or is he overrated in your eyes? Let me know how you feel about him in the comments below, and who your best defensive prospects are, or your hidden gems. Now, I may not know how he will turn out at the next level, but what I do know is that Jer'Zahn Newton is unstoppable.